It's going to be a fantastic one because we're going to continue from our previous lives and our previous teachings on food safety. We've been on it for a while now, and I think we've had like two discussions on it already. We've had like two discussions on it already, and today we're just kind to continue from where we stopped the last time. And today's topic it's quite an interesting one. It's a very interesting one. It's something that I don't put my mind to on also until I got to get enlightened about the topic. So, peradventure, in between you joined the stream, feel free to ask some questions if you want to. You can just drop the questions below and I will attend to them in as much I'm seeing them. If I see them, I will attend to them as much as I can. So let's dive into today's topic. Wow. Okay, before we dive in, just to wait if some people might join us. We might see someone joining in. And while we're waiting for that to happen, I would like to ask some questions and I'll put some answers to it. Some questions that we might think or we might be having in our mind to ask or that we don't even know how to ask. So I will ask some questions myself and I'll answer myself. It's funny, right? Yeah, I know. But later, if you listen to this video, maybe on YouTube, and you listen to it later and you feel like asking some questions, you can drop the questions on the comment section and I will try as much as possible to answer them. So let's dive in. And if you are joining in or you are seeing this live for the first time, I appreciate if you like and subscribe. Possible share the video to your loved ones because while sharing it, you might be saving someone, one or two people that you're not, that may even want to thank you or that may thank you later for doing that for them. Anyway, so let's dive into today's topic. So I said I'll start with some questions while we wait for people to join in the live stream. The question I say, what people name three people that are likely to get very ill as a result of food poisoning. People that may likely to get very ill as a result from food poisoning. Yeah. And the people that are likely to get ill mostly are the pregnant women. Pregnant women are likely to get ill as a result of what? Of food poisoning because they are their immune system it's a bit weakened when you're pregnant. Definitely when you're pregnant, you're having an infant inside of you, and the infant inside of you will be trying to grow, and during period of growing, it will be getting the nutrient from you, which is the host, the mother. That is the host. The baby will be trying to get nutrient from you, and go therefore the immunity of the pregnant women are always kind of low. That is why they advise when one is pregnant to take lots of vitamins, and that's why most of the pregnancy medications are multivitamins to boost your immunity, and there are very numerous checkups that we undergo that we go for when we are pregnant so that it will keep our immunity strong, it will boost our immunity, it will make you strong. And that is why they do so many tests on you when you're pregnant, just to check you if you have the necessary vitamins in you to get or to carry on with the pregnancy. If you're joining in, I'm discussing about food safety. Thank you very much. So that is the first people that I think are are very prone to get food poisoning because their immunity is so weak at that period. And once they get it, it's easy to transfer it to their infant, which they are carrying. Because as a pregnant woman, you're hosting yourself at the same time hosting, trying to cater for the baby inside of you. And second people I would say it are the older people, those people that are old or of age. That's why their immunity are getting weak as they get older. So that's why we discover that what we used to do when we are much more younger, the more we get older, it becomes a thing of struggle to do. We struggle to do so many things the more we age. So it's the older people gets to be poison, gets to react to food poison most time. Gets I'm sorry, gets to get this food poison most time. And as I say, thank you all for joining on this live. Thank you very much. If you have a question that you think you want to ask relating to food safety, mostly relating to food safety, you can as well drop your comment or drop your questions on the chat. When I see it, I will try as much as possible to answer those questions. I will try as much as possible to answer the questions. Thank you very much for joining in. Thank you all for joining in. And thirdly, I would say people with underlying illnesses are prone to get food poisoning. Someone just imagine someone that is suffering from, let's say, as big as cancer. Once they get sick, once those ones get food poisoning, the effect on them will be so very brutal, to so very brutal, because it might cause the death, their own death, can cause the end of such a person. Thank you for joining in. I appreciate you, ma. So that's I'm just trying to give some answers to some questions that might think people might be asking, or that people might want to get enlightened on before we move to today's topic or today's chat, or today's topic. Let's say it's a topic anyway. Today's topic, we are going to talk on the temperature of which at which the fridge, or the temperature at which we can handle food, be it in the fridge, when it's outside the fridge, when it's in the freezer, like when it's in the freezer, when we are cooking it. I'm just going to give us a guideline. There's a guideline that has been set for each food, or for the food we handle, the temperature they can be. Not every food that you handle that you can just, most especially. Hello, hello, hi, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate. Especially most of us, we do this a lot. When we go to the when we put our stuff in the freezer and it's already freezed, and we want to cook. It is when we want to cook that we now remember, oh, I forgot to bring this thing out of the fridge. The next we just bring it out, and sometimes we dump it inside water. And doing so, bacteria might be feeding on them and making it unhealthy, unsuitable for people to consume. So that is why I'm going to talk on this, how we can properly protect ourselves when it comes to dealing with food, because one way or the other, we are all in contact with food. No matter how small we might say it is, we are all in contact with food. Is that we cook it ourselves, we go to store to buy, we are selling food. We are all in contact with food. And in order to protect ourselves, it's not about those. This is not about dealing with people that sells food alone. We that we cook our own food ourselves too. We have to protect ourselves, protect our children, protect our older ones. That's why I spoke about people that might get brutally infected with food poisoning, even the babies too, because they are just growing their immunity. Their immunity is not too strong for so many things that may be entering their body. That is why we must properly handle our food. We must properly handle our food. And handling food doesn't mean you cooking it alone. It starts from the preparation, the cooking process, the preparation process, the cooking process, and after cooking process. Even after you finish cooking your food, you still have to maintain right temperature for the food in order not to get microorganisms to start breeding, because most of the time what we do to those microorganisms or to those bacteria are, when they are cooking, some of them don't die, they are just asleep. Or when they are in the freezer, most of them are just asleep. And once they get a temperature that is suitable for them to wake up and start investing, so what do? They start waking each other up. And funny enough, the minute at which temperature grows is within 10 to 20 minutes, and it grows in hundreds. Just imagine 10 minutes, first 10 minutes when the food wasn't handled well, the one with the one is waking up, and the next minute another one is waking up. And that food, we don't know, ignorantly we carry the food and we go eat the food again. Thank you for joining in. I appreciate everyone that has joined this live so far. It's really, really appreciated. So that I'm talking mostly about food poisoning. And if you really want, if you want to, if you have a question that you might think you want to get idea on about how to properly handle our food, please feel free to drop the questions and I will try as much as possible to attend to them. And if you think there are some things that you know that you want to share with us, why not share it with us? We are here to learn, and I'll be glad if we all learn together. Thank you very, very much. So, the first thing I will talk about is the freezing level. The temperature of our freezer must be on in minus 18, minus 18 degree. That is, your freezer must be properly freezed. Not, we are in a situation whereby, I know the country where I'm from, the electricity supply there, God have mercy. And that situation, we have food in the fridge or in the freezer, sorry, and NEPA took light. I don't know, I think it's now different company, power holding company that operates electricity in Nigeria now, I guess. So takes the light off, 2 3 days, no light. And because we don't want what is inside the freezer to get spoiled, we pack it out and we cook it. If in that such a case, I would have appreciated if, though I know the situation of the country, so I can't say more on that one, but the proper temperature of the freezer should be minus 18 degree above, like minus 18, minus 20. That's, if that makes sense, should be that range, because at that temperature, at that freezing point, all the microorganisms, because we like it or not, it's everywhere. Microorganism, bacteria, they are everywhere, in the water, in the air we breathe, in the water we drink. So we cannot shy away from them. As much as they are harmful, there are some that are also beneficial to the body. And they said the best prevention is the best method of something is prevention. So it's better we prevent ourselves from all these sicknesses and illness than to get exposed to them, and we are now spending years on years on years to rectify or to get better, or spending money going to the hospital, whereas it's something that we can actually rather shy away from. Let me say that like that. So that is the proper temperature at which a freezer is supposed to be for you to store your food, your raw meat, your frozen food. And most of the time, once you get those frozen food from the stores, it's better you take them to the freezer immediately. Take them to the freezer immediately. Don't don't how would I say, don't keep it down in the house in a warm temperature, because the temperature of our country, Nigeria, I know it's quite hot. So we shouldn't try to put it down in a warm temperature or in a room temperature before putting it in the freezer. Once we get those stuff and immediately we get home, we should try as much as possible to put those things that needs to be in the freezer. We need to, sorry, we should try as much as possible to put those things that needs to be in the freezer. So that's about freezer temperature. Thank you for all tuning in. I really, 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 really do appreciate this. Thank you very much. And secondly, the next one, that is the temperature of the fridge. And this is so, so important because most of us don't know the temperature at which our fridge should be. And that is why most of the time food gets spoiled in the fridge. And when talking about the fridge, I would like to branch into how we can properly store food in our fridge. Like I posted on my, I think on my YouTube page about some um how do I say it again? Some freezer that has been overloaded, or they are loaded or stored, they have stored food inside it the wrong way. There are levels. There's a way we need to arrange our food in the fridge for them to avoid cross contamination. Let me just say it this way. Yeah. There are levels at which you need to arrange our food to avoid cross contamination, because you cannot compare raw vegetables. You just imagine you putting vegetables and raw meat together in the fridge, or putting raw meat above vegetables, of which we know that cooking temperature for vegetable, we don't cook vegetable as much as we cook raw meat. And sometimes most of these vegetables, we don't even cook them at all. Some are eaten raw, we just wash and cook. And imagine we putting vegetables and raw meat together. Yeah, we might get it contaminated. So the temperature at which the fridge should be is from 0 degree to 5 degree. From 0 degree to 5 degree. Yes, from 0 degree. I'm sorry. So, yeah, like I said, sorry for the distraction. The temperature at which your fridge should be from 0 degree to 5 degree. This will make it that's what they call the chilling level. That is, your food will be chilled at this level to be cooled. And this does not mean that microorganisms can't grow in this at this point. No, they can, but they grow at a very, 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 very minimum stage. That is, they grow at a very minute level. They don't grow and spread the way they should grow when they are in room temperature. And I said earlier that I'm going to tell you how you're going to put stuff in your fridge. Fruit and vegetable mostly are supposed to be on top of the fridge. Yes, they are supposed to be placed in a container at the top side of the fridge, so that they will not be contaminated. And number two, anything you're putting in your fridge should be covered. Anything you're putting in your fridge must be covered. Don't say because it's inside the fridge it is good. Let's get a container that has lid. Make sure we cover the lid. Make sure we cover the food in the container. And that is so, so important, so that we don't get contaminated at the end of the day while trying to handle food. And number two, raw food such as fish, meat, chicken, or should be placed at the bottom side of the fridge. I don't know if I have a picture. I can put a picture or do something that will show a proper. I will do a video that will show proper handling or settling of the fridge later. So raw meat, be chicken, fish, should be at the lower part of the freezer. That way they are there and they are closed there. That shelf, that compartment that has this thing, that is where they should be. They should be stored there, so that they don't the bacteria or microorganisms inside them don't spread to the rest of your food. Please, if you're just tuning in, I appreciate you. Thank you all for joining. This means a lot to me. And if you have any questions about food safety, about how to properly handle your food, feel free to drop your questions because I've been running some classes or some discussions about how to properly handle our food. And the last one I dropped, I spoke about the danger of expired products and the difference between used by and best before. I spoke about them and I appreciate if you can listen to them, but I can give a brief discussion about them that we should always learn or we should learn to always check our food, especially when the one we buy from the stores, no matter how big or small the stores are. We should always check the labels on them, read the information on the food container before consumption. And I stated an example that happened here in the country where I stay currently about a big store that sold infant milk that expired about 9 years ago. And the couple bought the milk, fed it to a newborn baby. The newborn baby fell sick, took the baby to the hospital for them to now realize that the milk the baby was fed on had expired. Yeah, they were compensated, but what if the baby died? They will still be compensated, but these mistakes or this this mistake should have been might be avoided, or yes, might be avoided, might not have happened if they had read the instruction or if they had even checked the expiring date of the product before giving it to the baby. That's why I dropped that one in case you want to listen to it again. And I think I mentioned about us seeing expiring dates to be so years, but some containers or some food has these features that once you open the container, consume within so amount of days or weeks. Once it pass those levels of weeks, it's not as if they are not good for consumption. You can actually eat them, but most of these things they are stored with some chemicals, and the length at which the protection at which you can get before these harmful chemicals begin to react in your body, that is the numbers of dates they have put there. I know I saw a video that says the expiring date, there's no guideline for expiring products. There's nothing that shows that you have to stay this long before you stop using expiring products, stuff and that. And I was like, just imagine a dead body. Can a dead body still move after the person is dead? No. That is just how expired products are. Once they are expired, they are not of any value to you again. Even if you think you don't want to trash it or it's still, once it's expired, to me, it is expired, and it's better to be safe than to be sorry. And they say prevention is better than cure. Going back to our topic today, so we've talked about the temperature at which your fridge should be. That is 0 to 5 degree Celsius. And I was trying to explain how we can properly store and save our food in the fridge. Uh, okay, I said we should always cover our fridge to avoid cover everything you put in the fridge so that bacteria does not flow from one food to the other, especially when you have food that are high that can breed bacteria so much, and before you know it, they will invest on the other food and might cause food poisoning. And the one that is at the koko, that is the danger zone. That is what we call the room temperature, and this occur from anything from 5 degrees Celsius to 64 degree. This state, bacteria multiply, it grows so fast. Like I said in the, let's just to have a little bit recap for those that are just joining in. Once you put your stuff in the freezer, bacteria are asleep. They don't die in the freezer. It just keep whatever it's inside at that level. They won't grow, they won't die. They just stay there. They stay at that level. And number two, in the fridge, it's not as if they might not grow. They will and well, just that they grow in a minimum state. They don't grow rapidly. They just grow. That's why once you handle your food carefully, you might not even get contaminated when food is in the fridge. Once they are handled properly, cover your food, put vegetables on top. Once things, anything that are expired in the fridge, please take them out so that, and regularly cleaning of the fridge, it's so important so that bacteria doesn't feed on that fridge. And the fridge must be from 0 degree to 5 degrees. It must not be on 6 degree, because the more the fridge gets warm, the more bacteria start growing and affect the food in your fridge. Your fridge temperature should not be above 5 degree. Can be below 5, but not. I think sometimes it was from 0 to 3 degree. It was later increased to 5 degrees. So it might be above, sorry, it might be below 5, if that makes sense, but not above 5 degree. Because once it's getting above 5 degree, it's getting towards the danger zone. Danger zone. What is danger zone? This is a stage whereby bacteria multiply in tens and in thousands. Every 10 to 20 minutes, they multiply, they grow, they begin to spread out like wildfire. They spread out, they begin to grow, they grow, they grow, they grow. And eating anything at this state or putting any food, you're at risk of food poisoning. That is why when you when you take your food out of the fridge, if it is a food that has been cooked before, immediately you're taking it out of the fridge, you take it to where you are warming it or eating it up. And once you are eating your food, reheating temperature should be up to 70 degree. Like you must heat up the food up to 70 degree. Should not be lower than that. Like make your food to be piping hot before eating it. Don't say because I just cooked the food today and it's I just need to just warm it up. Let it make it piping hot so that at least to some extent bacteria might have died. To some extent they would have died. So when you take such food, it will not have adverse effect in our body. Secondly, when you take food from the freezer and you want to cook it, it is better to thaw it or defrost it in the fridge. I'll say that again. When you take food out from the freezer, your freezer is so cold and the food you want to make use of is so blocked up that there's no way you can cook like that with it. If it is not a little or small portion of, maybe a small portion of the food that you want to use that is inside the freezer, and that's why I would advise that it's better we portion our food in little quantity when you want to put them in the freezer. So when you want to use, you don't have to defrost everything or thaw everything. Then you now use the little part you want to use and take it back to the freezer. That is not healthy also. So it's better when we get our stuff, it's better we portion it in the quantity that we want to use it. That when we get it out of, we only get the portion we want to use out, thaw or defrost, then return back to the fridge. Then return. I'm sorry, we would only take the little portion we want to use out, so that we can use it or we can cook them up. If that makes sense. Thank you very much. So this is the I said 5 to 64 degree. It's a danger zone where microorganisms infest on food. That's why I'm not saying that once you take your food or fruit from the freezer, it's better you store them in the fridge, or that is where the temperature is a little bit cool. So most of the time, if you know you want to use the beef tomorrow morning, you can take it out in the night and put it in the fridge. And by the time you get to use it the following day, it's at the temperature whereby you can easily put it up on the pot and eat your and cook it. And by that doing, or by so doing, you've reduced the growth of bacteria to a minimum, and once you cook in the right temperature, the bacteria dies and you are good to eat your food. Thank you all for joining. Thank you for new joiners. I appreciate you for listening to me this evening. Sorry, this afternoon or morning or evening, wherever you might be. And I said, this temperature, it's this danger zone. It is very important that we take note of what we do at this stage, and that will move us to the cooking temperature. Cooking temperature should be from 75 degree when we cook our food. Don't help them to do a raw steak or raw beef. You will not cook food to the, especially when it comes to poultry or beef. You have to cook them to the level where which every bacteria dies before before eating. We cook in a proper temperature. We cook in a proper temperature so that all bacteria dies. And or we cook, we boil to 100 degrees Celsius. That is that stage, nothing is breathing inside, nothing is, everything is dead. I think what I said today makes sense to you. If it makes sense, I would just like you to press on your screen and give me a like. And we continue again next time we meet. If you have any question, like I said, it's a it's a place where you can ask your questions and just drop your comments. And when next we meet, we will first attend to them before going into the new topic. Thank you all for tuning in today. Yeah. Thank you. And bye bye for now. Yeah. Bye.